Let's get into the show, guys, starting with Hedera. It's been a minute since we talked about the HBAR. They are now known as the Hedera Foundation. I believe they made that switch over May 1st, if I'm not mistaken. Branding looks nice. Website looks nice. Everything looks good. Still curious, though, as to why they made the change over. Maybe they were trying to get away from a lot of the drama that was attached to the Hedera hash graph name. Only time will tell, though. But longtime builder on Hedera, Zonix and Stax have deployed a $100 million compliant tokenized real estate solution on Hedera using a new token standard that they invented called ERC 7518. Now, we've actually heard of this by another name when we first reported on Hedera initially setting up the relationship with Zonix. Zonix has this proprietary technology called DICES, which under the hood is this ERC 7518 token standard. Now, we're going to dive into the press release first, but after I'm going to explain to you a little bit in more detail what that ERC 7518 actually is, because it comes with a pretty cool use case that I haven't heard of. But let's get into the story. And real quick before we go forward, you may be wondering about the visuals. This leans to that copyright strike that I was telling you guys about. Real quick, over the weekend, I had one of my videos taken down. It was a video from 2021. Covered car vertical. I guarantee you, none of you remember that. But I know why they took it down. And it's something that I now have to be aware of reading from every source that I go to, every website. It falls under terms and conditions. And if you were another crypto YouTuber watching this segment right now, I want you to understand CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, Ledger Insights, The Block, Blockworks, Bitcoin.com, BitcoinNews.com, all of these news publications that we're getting our sources from, they have terms and conditions, and they're starting to copyright the text on these screens. Simply put, that is why we had to change the graphics up. So forgive me for that tangent. I just want to, I'm an open book, guys. I ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing from y'all. But let's finish this. Let's get back to it, okay? Stax, an innovative institutional marketplace for real estate, has introduced ERC 7518, a compliance-driven token standard, keyword compliance, created by Zonix on Hedera, the public enterprise-grade blockchain with more than 100 million in institutional real estate now being integrated through the framework. The industry has received its most definitive signal. Compliant tokenization at scale has officially made its entrance. So, going down the press release, they also have a quote here: in a move that shifts tokenization from theory to execution, Stax will soon issue real estate-backed tokens for 3 prominent European family offices. This represents the over $100 million in assets that will be tokenized on the Hedera network. So I pointed out to you that compliance was a key word here, and that is because this ERC 7518, when I read the documentation on Zonix website, and make sure you use it for personal use, don't be out here trying to use it for commercial purposes, okay? But when I read the documentation on their site, I'm digging through the ERC 7518, and it is essentially DICES. But since we've last read about them about a year or so ago, a year and a half now, they have expanded so much on it. Now they have a piece where they're comparing the advantages and disadvantages of other ERC token standards, like your ERC 721, if I'm not mistaken. There is literally a boatload of them, but simply these token standards are how Ethereum does its business. There is the consensus mechanism, the proof of stake, yes, but all of the independent functionality of every token on Ethereum is using one of, if not multiple, token standards. So what Zonix designed was their own Ethereum token standard. And because Hedera has the EVM compatibility, the ERC 7518 was able to plug right into the network. So this is not only going to serve builders on Hedera, tokenization projects on Hedera, but this will also be compatible with Ethereum. And despite what people say, guys, if Vitalik does activate this feature that I hear is supposed to essentially get rid of gas fees, oh my goodness, Ethereum might actually be a problem again. Might actually be a problem. Okay. But more statistics on the ERC 7518. And we also have a clip from the co-founder of Zonix at a recent event, further explaining the power of the multiple jurisdiction compliance. But there is projected to be 10 billion in tokenized RWA pipelines expected by Q1 of next year. That ain't that far away now. We're in June, baby. We 6 months into 2025. Happened quick. Multiple jurisdictions already mapped into the protocol's rule engine. Future support for real-time asset servicing, secondary market compliance, and private fund tokenization. So, much like ArchX is bringing top-tier businesses and enterprises into the world of tokenization and exposing them to the Hedera network, Zonix is doing the exact same thing, and the benefit, they're bringing their own technology. Now, let's go to the co-founder. I believe this one. Oh, no. Current DLT partners. Yes, I did add this here because I wanted to give you a deeper idea, deeper understanding of just how Zonix is coming. Current DLT partners include Hedera, XRP Ledger, Ripple, Base, Chainlink, Solana, and Polygon. Now, Ripple, I believe, set up a separate arrangement with Zonix on their own. So they'll be using the XRP Ledger, Ripple will, through Zonix. But you also have independent developers on the ledger who also have their own relationship with Zonix. So that's very cool. In addition, Base is a very popular emerging chain that is the network connected to Coinbase. Chainlink's everywhere, Solana's everywhere, Polygon, interesting choice. But Polygon was originally designed to improve the scalability on Ethereum. With the use of Ethereum token standards, it's a natural fit. So, next is this clip. Yes, co-founder of Zonix. Let me get the volume right here. Make sure that we're good. But yes, this is the co-founder of Zonix. He's going to explain a couple things. One, how long that they've been working with Hedera. And he's going to announce another initiative that will be coming to the network very soon.
Of course, Hedera. Yeah. And what we've done is actually for an institution to push the assets on chain, they would require a couple of things. They require an ecosystem, which is interoperable in between different chains, and at the same time custodian. So we have inbuilt custodians as well, and we have wallet providers as well. And then the best part, what we have done is, because these are financial securities, these are not NFTs or meme coins. Financial securities require regulations. So we inbuilt all these regulations, in our smart contract. So based on the jurisdiction of an asset class, you can get the regulation which is applicable in that particular jurisdiction. So that's something which is like really cool. So if you are issuing any securities in the US, it is SEC's Reg D 506C, Reg D 506B, Reg S issuances. But if you are issuing something in Germany, it is BaFin regulation. So that's
getting ahead of myself.
Hedera.
But you know what we'll be talking about
what we've
next.
done is actually for an institution, 506C, Reg D 506B, Reg S issuances. But if you are issuing something in Germany, it is BaFin regulation. So that's what we built over the years. Today is the time when we are actually going to be launching two major projects on Hedera. Okay. One is the a German issuer who's actually an asset management company, and they are actually pushing the assets on Hedera chain. And we've been building on Hedera since 1.5 years now. Yeah, so it's kind of it's quite a long time for us to pay.
So I'm not quite sure if the German issuer, because we're talking Europe here. Zonix said they're going to be tokenizing the 3 family offices in Europe. And then he mentions a German firm. Now, I do know of a German firm named Midas that just launched a tokenization initiative on Algorand. That'd be interesting if that would be the same company, right? Of course, they can't name any names at this moment. But also noticed what he said about the jurisdictions. In the United States, you have to comply with SEC regulations, so forth and so on. In Germany, for example, there's the BaFin regulations, which BaFin is their version of the SEC, which mandates all the financial things, stuff like that. So when that's what I find to be the most interesting about this particular relationship with Zonix and Hedera is the ERC 7518, also known as DICEs, that gives the tokens that are used on the network that multi-jurisdictional ability. That is going to be very attractive to enterprises, especially when you think of, okay, in South Korea right now, guys, you listen, there are 3 presidential candidates running. All 3 of them are pro blockchain, not pro Bitcoin or pro XRP. They're pro blockchain. All right. We got one guy who wants the leading piece of his platform is stablecoins. We have another guy, the leading piece of his platform is proper regulation on digital assets. And then we do have that third guy who wants to bring in Bitcoin mining and more efficient stores of value for the country or whatever. So there is that. But I think this is the first of its kind where all the political parties are pro blockchain. Never heard of this before. Then you hop over a little bit, go over to Hong Kong. They officially have passed stablecoin rules. They have them now. Stablecoins are about to start popping out of everywhere when it comes to Hong Kong. So I think the timing of launching a multi-jurisdictional tool for tokenizing real-world assets is genius. It really is. And the benefit, it's going to be on Hedera. So with that, you really can't be mad at that.